Hello, this is Jeff Schulteis with the JS Realtor team, and I'm here today with Chuck Fasaki, business coach, and we're going to just talk about his business and how maybe he could help you out there that's got a business, maybe needing some coaching. So we're here in Worcester, Ohio. Chuck, welcome. I'm glad you get to sit down with me here. Could you just kind of give a general introduction and a little bit about your business?
Yeah, so Chuck Fasaki, I live in the Wayne County area here. I spent a lot of years outside of the area with running businesses. I was a CEO of primarily manufacturing businesses, but it had me traveling the world, and that sounds glamorous, but when you got 5 kids at home,
that's not so fun.
It's not so fun. And so my wife and I decided to become local, and after 30 some years in various industries helping be a change agent for the businesses, I decided to go into the coaching business, and didn't have all the tools in my toolbox because I spent my time working on the businesses, not filling up a toolbox of tools. So I purchased a franchise from Action Coach, which is a coaching business that is international. It is in 70 countries, and it's got over 1,000 different business partners in it, and so that got me launched and going in 2000 of all years. So, 2020, I should say.
2020, yeah. So right in the middle of a pandemic, you started a coaching business, which in some ways probably could have helped you a little bit, didn't it, by being virtual with people? Or
it was an adjustment period for the industry at the time, but there was definitely a lot of small business owners trying to figure out how to maneuver through it, and so our whole group positioned itself to be able to help those businesses, and that's what we do, and that's why it's good to have something you're tied to. I could help a lot of businesses without having the franchise that I do, but with all those networks that I have there, I can get an answer to anything, even if I haven't personally faced it.
Yeah.
So,
and that's really the benefit of any network, right? If you want to be a part of a really great network and somebody, has questions or things needed, you can then move them to that person so that can help them out. So that's really good.
So, been doing the business for 4 years. My wife and I are committed to a local community in Wayne County called Shreve, and so we also, in the meantime, started a coffee house, and we put an investment group together to buy a grocery store, and we're doing other things in that community to just build it up. But the real benefit of doing that is it really highlights the need for small businesses to have somebody to come along and assist them. The biggest reason that small towns start to fail is because businesses don't have good succession plans.
Right.
And you can't start doing that when you're in your 60s. You really need to do it at an age that you can build out your business and make it so that you have a future plan. And that is one of the areas. We'll help any business, but we will focus on businesses that need to plan for the future and figure out how to pass on the business. And passing on the business sometimes could be to a family member, but it can be selling the business. Or one thing that is really a good option, if you finish your business and make it to the point that it can run independent, which there is tools that we use to do that, you can have passive income, and you can just touch that business enough that you can kind of live anywhere in the world. And I've got clients that can do that right now because they've learned how to run a business remotely. They have the tools to be able to evaluate how it's running on an ongoing basis. And then I've even worked with their teams and locally here to be able to keep them strong and skilled to be able to run a business. So those are just, a couple of the ways that I get into the coaching business. One other one that, people are growing often in their business and they just are consumed by it. And they need somebody to come back in with them and look at it objectively to say, how do I work on the business, not in the business? So, it's just that issue of how do you do that? And there's 2 things that we offer. Number one, we offer solutions from stepping back and helping them understand it. But then we also hold them accountable.
Right.
And that accountability piece is a big part of a good business coach.
Yeah, that's important because you can get in a silo of yourself, right? And I think a lot of us out there could probably fall in the category of workaholics if we're self-employed, right? Sometimes you feel
Right.
like you can get so trapped.
Right.
But when you get trapped like that, you need somebody else to kind of
Right. And
give
that's
that feedback.
That's the aspect. And we try not to overcoach. We only like to meet with our clients a couple times a month and give them time to breathe and implement and do some of the things that they're working on. And but we're always available to them. But we do that a couple times a month, and that's the primary rhythm that we get into with them, so that we are not trying to run the business for them. We want them to run the business. We want them to learn the skills to do it. But I mean, we really care about their business, and I take each of those customers, clients personally, the success of their business.
Kind of like a family member in a way.
Yep, because these are people in the community, and you want to see them succeed and their goals met. So I've learned to love the coaching business, and also being a small business owner. It's not like you're talking down; you're talking at the same level, because you got the same struggles going on. Same things happen.
Yeah, small business is the backbone of our country. Really, it's the overwhelming majority category of any businesses, right? But it's always the same thing. We all struggle to make it work right? Sometimes we've had long histories and maybe some successes. Sometimes we don't even know why or whatever. But we want to grow, and that succession plan makes sense to me as far as I can see at some point. I don't really want to retire, so to speak. I like that whole aspect of customers, but to be able to plan ahead and figure out, how can I do that? How can I go to Florida or Greece or somewhere and spend some time, but to still be successful, because your community depends on you. Really. I mean, when you get down to it, the community depends on your small business store.
And if people don't have succession plans, it ends up being an empty storefront or a missing service in the community. And maybe it'll get handled, but often it'll become absorbed by the big box store type environment or a larger conglomerate. It really doesn't serve the community in the same way as that local business did. So
no, I agree. It's a great service you're offering people, and I'd encourage anybody that would want to think about it. I'm sure you'd probably give a free consultation. So
we do. Yeah. So we start off. I mean, we sit down with an individual for an hour and a half, just to understand what some of their goals are, what their pain points are, or what their frustrations are, and see if we can bring them real value. Last thing I want to do is waste somebody's time and waste my time on something where it's not going to be a real pointed effort to solve some problems, make a business better, make a business owner satisfied with what they do. So we start off with a consultation, and then we try to align things between what their goals are and what the business needs are, and then we go into the coaching process. So it's my approach is meeting people with where they're at, and so I come out of a corporate environment, but my big advantage is I just like to relax with anybody across the table and talk.
And that's that relationship part, right? We all need a relationships to help us to grow. If we really want to do it, people would do it on their own, but that's very rare. You got to have a network and having people in your corner and maybe a great coach at times. And so does people sometimes do it for a while and then not for a while, or how does that kind of?
Well, with most of my clients, they've been doing it for years, and in some ways, the role has changed for me. It was very basics, and now, some of those are coaching their teams, not necessarily them. So typically 2 to 3 years is a coaching cycle for somebody. But I mean, we've got people in our network that have been having the same coach for years and years. And like I said, the role will change. But it is something that
it might be more frequent, but then it just kind of a check-in point, to keep you on a path.
Or you're helping different parts of the business, maybe not the owner as much as part of the team.
Okay, so you kind of get to what, and as you talked about that succession plan, now he's got management underneath him that's running the business, that now you're working with them to build them up. So you're constantly bringing a funnel of quality people into the organization to keep it moving.
That's right, exactly.
It's a great thing to do. Absolutely. So all right, so how does people get a hold of you? We've kind of get into a little bit about that. So
couple ways is we have a website, Enlighten bc.com, and it would be our primary website that you can see options on how to set up an appointment and meet with me. I also am available at our coffee house in Shreve Hebrews Coffee, which is, we've had so many walk-ups walk in the door, and again, it's a relaxing environment. And then my phone number is 440-281-4200, and people can get a hold of me at any time. So.
Great. Sounds wonderful. I really appreciate your time. I think what you're doing is very valuable. I know as a small business owner of many different things. I mean, people in my life is what's helped bounce things off of, and coaching and stuff going through there is a very valuable tool. So I hope this is something you might want to explore at least. I will have his contact information also in the comment sections here and stuff, so you can look that up. But if you have any questions, obviously you can always call me. Again, this is Jeff Schulteis, the JS Realtor team, and my phone number is 614-721-0450. And I appreciate you guys checking in, and you have a great day.